Yes?
This is good, man.
Right.
How come we gotta, I mean, why do we gotta talk? The guys are still there. Why don't they play some more, man?
You can still stay there. We'll talk to them later.
You guys are hanging cool, man.
Now,
that was good.
The soon-to-be...
What's on your hat?
I get a word in it. Plastic babies. There you go, Chris. He was dying to know what was on the hat.
Where can I get a hat with plastic babies?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Now, the soon-to-be-released film, Pump Up the Volume, stars Christian Slater, who's one of Hollywood's new young golden boys. Terry went to LA to meet him, and he's already been compared to the new Jack Nicholson, and he's still only 22.
In his latest film, Pump Up the Volume, Christian Slater plays a new kid at high school, a shy outsider who becomes a hero to the other kids as a pirate radio DJ.
You do something crazy? Then why not do something crazy? It makes a hell of a lot more sense than blowing your brains out.
You play a DJ and pump up the volume and everything.
Yeah.
Was that something that you thought you might have wanted to do instead of acting?
Not at all. No. Pump Up the Volume. That was a script I read. It just, you know, it hit me like in, you know, and so I'm sort of instinctual. You know, I read these scripts and. If I really get like a strong, you know, desire and everything, that's how it was with Heathers. You know, I read the script and just felt like I could do this character, I could do it, and you know, we'd have a great time.
In the cult film Heathers, he plays opposite teen queen Winona Ryder as a high school homicidal maniac.
Hello, Jason Dean.
Greetings and salutations. You a Heather?
No. I'm a Veronica.
A far cry from a psycho teenager was his portrayal of an innocent novice monk in The Name of the Rose, which enabled him to work with one of his heroes.
I was, you know, 15. You know, I was in constant admiration of, you know, Sean Connery, which is how it was on the set. Basically, I don't remember really having a conversation with him. They were always sort of one-sided because I spent most of my time looking up at him. You know, with these big eyes and my mouth open, you know, having nothing to say, you know, just sort of wanting to get everything I could from him.
Another generous donation by the church to the poor.
Well, you know, he's a real master at the love scene, you know, the art of, you know, look at him, man. I mean, he's the king of it. And, you know, me, I had that very, very intense love scene, and I went to him and said, you know, what the hell do I do? And he just said, you know, close your eyes and dive right in.
It's quite a steamy scene. I mean, how do you actually stop, how can I put this?
Very delicately.
Well, yeah, I mean, how does that, you know, does that not kind of happen, really? Because you're a professional and an actor.
Well, I'm not a method actor. I mean, I didn't, yeah, I guess that sums that question up. I'm not a method actor, and this girl and I, we're still very good friends, and we became very close on that movie. It was very cold, though, in that room, too. Very cold. You know, a cold environment does not work for that kind of scene. But it was still a scene handled very tactfully and beautifully. I was, you know, 16 when I did that, and I'm very, very proud of it. You know, and I'm glad I got it out of the way now because I don't have to show my hiney ever again.
Well, no. Well, I was going to.
Now I would do it openly. You know.
Were you actually a virgin though when you did that bit? No, in real life.
Good question.
You're the latest recruit now to the Young Guns posse for Young Guns 2.
Young Guns. Sounds like
hey, listen,
Young Goons or something. Young Goons.
Dave, it's your gang.
What? It ain't my gang, it's your gang. It's always been your gang. It's about two friends that that really sort of separate and turn against each other, you know. So there is some interesting stuff going on. We're getting very, very deep now. Yeah. We must stop.
Have you got any regrets about being in the movie industry?
None whatsoever. I mean, I know a lot of people a lot of people do ask that question, mainly because they think I've missed out on something, you know, missed out on being a kid. But this business, I mean, it made so much possible for me, and it's something I've always wanted to do. I mean, I know it's the thing I want to do for the rest of my life, and I feel fortunate that I was able, you know, given the chance to actually, I guess, be able to fulfill some of my dreams at this point, you know.
Nice one. Hey, thanks a lot.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure, and no, I wasn't a virgin.
The word.
Now tell us about Madonna's bedroom, Chris.
Can we see that part with the bedroom scene in there again?
Would you take your clothes off for a film? I don't mean now.
I don't know. How much money are we talking about?
50 pence? I don't know.
50? What's that about? Like $1.25 or something?
$1?
Yeah, sure, for $1.
Did you?
Yeah, for $1. Okay, sure. No, I wouldn't do that because.
You wouldn't?
No, I'd lose a lot of my audience. You don't want to scare people.
All right, well, we'll talk to you about it in the break. Still to come, we've got this week's juicy gossip, including a homemade video with Belinda Carlisle. We've got Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer and the brilliant Karen Wheeler in the studio. Back in a minute.
Which of these stars had a childhood ambition to become a monk? Was it Bob Monkhouse, Tom Cruise, Elvis Costello, Sean Penn? Find out after the break. The word. We asked you which of these stars had a childhood ambition to become a monk. The answer is Tom Cruise.
Ooh, come on, get in there. Come on, Christian.
No, they've been
I
so
tell you,
hasty about everything.
for comics, it's a bit flow, really. Vic Reeves, Bob Mortimer, the big night out. This is the biggest night they've ever had. Let me. Come on! Oh, nice. Come on. Come on. Get sat down. Get sat down. All right, come on, sit down, please. You don't get...
Sit down, Vic, sit down.
You don't get rabble like that on your show, no?
So right we don't. What a cost, Hunch Christian.
Listen, how did you boys get together in the first place?
Sorry, Vic, wasn't looking right. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a pleasure to be on Challenge Annika tonight. It is. Oh, I don't know what to say.
What was that, Terry?
How did you boys get together?
I went to see Jim Shaw at a theatre. Where was it? At a pub, and I enjoyed it so much I went straight up to him and combed his hair.
That's right, Christian, you wouldn't believe it, but that's true.
Then we got together, we started buying things together.
That's right, and what a nice horn you have on this table.
Do you know that angle there? It's the same as the ancient medieval arrowhead.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, Terry, I've fallen.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, I'm going to be
Have you got a procedure for this, sir?
Are you actually real mates in real life? Is it like Mike and Bernie Winters, where you hate each other in real life? But
no, we really hate
friends?
each other quite violently. Have you tried this new product, Terry?
Since my hair's not as slicky as yours, I haven't.
That's Reeves and Mortimer's hair gel, and it's
and it really does work a treat
at the moment.
He looks like Elvis Presley, doesn't he?
What, dead 13 years? No.
Oh, well done, Terry.
No,
well done.
You were called the best dressed man of 1990. And
That's right.
Coming from Darlington, I find it very hard to believe. But how did you feel about that?
Well, you know, I reckon that people have stopped dressing well these days. You, for instance.
I never started.
No, people stopped dressing well in the 70s, didn't they?
Yeah, what, when the flares went out?
Well, I don't know. Suits went out of fashion and people stopped wearing them. They didn't really know what to wear. So
Did they wear socks? Because you haven't got any socks on, either of you. Why?
That's because we just came on our yacht.
Now, you are supposed to be a bit of a heartthrob, you know, the two of you, as a Vic Reeves,
Presbyterians?
Big night out.
News agents, please.
Which one of you is more popular with the women?
I'm more popular with very squat girls.
Hendrix is more popular with me. Hendrix.
You're quite popular with Lady Esquire.
But the women not get a bit jealous of you always being in each other's company and going off on your little motorbike weekends together?
Oh, the motorbike, we love motorbikes, don't we, Jim?
Well, we adore motorcycles. The faster ones,
Have you ever taken out the same girl though, on the same, you know, in the night?
Hey, behave.
Well,
Don't
no,
be
you know.
so crude.
No, but you know, like Bing Crosby and Bob Hope would get married to the to Dorothy Lamour at the end of the film. Have you ever found yourself in that kind of position?
We live entirely separate lives.
Terry, he's got a fetish about Betty Boo.
No, that's so enough.
Oh, you like Betty Boo?
Oh, you heard about that as well, did you?
Have you never met her?
All right, Chris, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
No, Chris, I know what to say. Chris, you're from...
It is your own!
If you just calm down a minute, Chris is actually from Stockton.
You're not Chris.
What the devil's that?
Chris is from Stockton, you're from Darlington, he's from
Are you
Middlesbrough.
from Stockton, Chris?
Yeah, I am.
Really? The widest high street in England, doesn't it, Stockton?
Stockton, USA!
Stockton,
New York, we've been joked.
Different Stockton.
We've been joked.
Different one.
Does this kind of... does this kind of stuff cross the Atlantic, do you think?
Terry, I think you're great. You know, Terry, I love you. I love you, Terry. I love you.
I know you do. Listen, listen, forget that. Look, you love this. They wouldn't admit to, like, both taking out the same girl, but if you remember the Rob Lowe video some time ago where him and a friend and a couple of women actually shared their good time with a nation over in the USA on a home video. Well, this is another home video that we've unearthed, but this time it's Belinda Carlisle and her co-members of the Go-Go's from a few years back having a good time backstage. That's just one of the items amongst this week's gossip. Have a look at this. Should have plastic surgery, don't they? Chris, you've been involved in this rock and roll business for a few years now. Have you ever had any backstage parties?
No, I never have, but I'm still looking forward to them.
Well, did you actually...
I want to know how I get it. I want to know how come the hand bandages and where can I get one? What's the deal on the hand things?
I think it's your injuries, isn't it?
Oh, the hand bandages. These are Reeves and Mortimer hand bandages, actually. They really do a rather good job.
I don't know if people know this, but your record, actually, your CD is very big in the United States.
Thanks very much.
Oh, that's great.
My CD is quite big all over the place.
Oh no, I don't believe it. Listen, we moved from Stockton, Darlington and Middlesbrough in the northeast over to the southwest. Amanda de Cadenet possibly at her very first blues session. Amanda, you found yourself a bups yet?
Yeah, hi Terry. Thank you. I get there was a bit of a problem with the sound there, so just to recap, I'm in Bristol and I'm at a toasting competition with 3 of Britain's best rappers. Now with me is Tipper Irie, Papa Levi and Daddy Freddie, okay? So, before we see them do their stuff, I'm just going to let you know that we're going to be judging the best rap. Alrighty! We're going to be judging the best rap by the amount of noise the audience is making, and you can hear them making quite a lot on this little machine. Can we have some silence, please? Okay, now Peter is an environmental health officer. Tell me how this machine works.
Well, it records the amount of noise that these people are making at the moment, and it converts it into decibels, and that's what we're going to use later on to mark the rappers.
So whoever gets the most decibels on that machine gets the most points. Okay, what are these raps about? Anything in particular?
Well, the first one is about you.
Oh, they better be nice. Okay, take it away.
Yes, now good evening all the viewers at home. This is Tipper Irie with the Article Dan Passion 2. So all the massive, are you ready? Roll the rhythm, the road boy. Oh Lord of mercy, till Lord of mercy. This is the great Tipper. Oh, beside me. Hey. Oh, no ready for lyrics? Oh, no want some lyrics? Oh, no ready for lyrics? Oh, no want some lyrics? Because how the people know this a Tipper Irie. Me they are right now with the Daddy Freddy. Me say it jump over the so that me say it jump over the so that Papa leave it. And the fast talking, you know we know about it. Cause it at the time they leave it a right. They say me find me do fi find me up and stop it. Stop!
Yeah, Jah Rastafari, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. Elect of God, ever living God, earth right for ruler, Jah! Stick with the program. Lord of His mercy, mercy, mercy me. Listen to the Dan Levy. Now when I say what's the time, I want you to say Levi time. What da da ding, charity bang ding, hey. What da da ding, charity bang. Come, what da da ding, what did he done? Come, what da da ding, what did he done? Come and say, what's the time? What's the time? What's the time? What's the time? I come to perpetrate, annihilate, exterminate, eradicate, and terminate, assassinate. I got no time.
Oh man, Bristol, we love honor. Respect Joe every time, 24/7. No respect, Papa Levi. I'm a brother Tipper, you know, so when I ramp with it, so that's saying, no, come with it, bad boy. Phenomenon one. When you are done, you are done. Original Danga. Phenomenon one and two, one, shake your papa, baby, wow. Who's a different about wow? I'm up in the world area, what? Who's a different about what? Who's a I'm under the me about the back, make them move and go on the back, make them back. It's not different Friday, but them I got me yacha. Like I'm up in that different, a boom shakata. Don't be sent up on every day, man. You know what I got it. They say, one up your one, if you love you for you. Jump around, are you big arm? Gunshot! Gunshot! Stop it.
Wow, that was brilliant. Yeah, I'm really impressed with that, guys. That was great. Okay, so now we're going to see who. It's going to be a really difficult thing now because I want you all to make some noise, okay? Tipperary, make some noise for Tipperary. What was that one? What one for? Okay, how about Papa Levi over here? Peter, you better remember these, okay? And what about Daddy Freddy? You know what? All of these guys were brilliant, and it doesn't really matter who won anyway, because they were all great, okay? So, how about if you kind of leave us with a rap from all of you, yeah? Yeah? Alrighty. Let's have some more music.
Now, people, we're gonna continue the show. In case you didn't know, this is Tipperary, Papa Levi, and Daddy Freddy. Now follow me. Now Miss Irie at home, Mom, you know, Peter and Gail, family, all the massive. Loving us straight up to the max. Have mercy. Oh, oh, Lord, have mercy. This are the great tipper. Ding, 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 ding. No pussy, hold up your one in the ear. Because you know say that the Freddy can't clear. Come on, hold up your one in the ear. Because you know say Papa Levi can't clear. I
thought, oh, hey. No, I thought that was a bit mean, didn't you? Toasting competition with artists of their calibre. A couple of guys there from the Saxon sound system, innit? Saxon, that's Papa Levi.
Mash it up, man.
Oh, you're a bit dry. Chris, over in the States, I mean, years ago when reggae was big over here, like in the late 70s, it was because it didn't take off in the States that it kind of went underground. Were you a big reggae fan?
Oh yeah, real big, man.
Could you actually get the records?
I was just grooving heavy to Daddy Freddy there. And what I liked particularly is he had his wallet under his arm.
Can I interrupt you, please? Sorry, Chris.
A
serious note here. Okay. Now, since the Gulf War broke out, sensitive media executives have been removing from the schedules all programmes they consider likely to cause offence. Some of their decisions have been a little eccentric, to say the least. So we decided to find out what all the fuss was about.
Here is an announcement. You will not be seeing these television programmes in the foreseeable future.
And the BBC's Mary Whitehouse Experience, despite being a topical satire programme, has decided not to make jokes about a Gulf War.
The worst time to do any kind of satirical show is now. You're going to alienate a lot of people, depending on what kind of jokes that you do. about Iraq. We can rationalize and make logical the arguments for why we think we should be doing it. In the end, though, the response will be an emotional one from the people viewing. And I think that we'll be left with egg on our face.
The worst kind of censorship at the moment is not that imposed by the MOD or by editors of newspapers. The worst kind of censorship at the moment is that imposed by individuals themselves, people who don't feel that they've got enough guts to say what they really think.
Today's 30-page private eye had 20 Gulf War jokes. When it comes to records, BBC Radio has told its producers to try to avoid playing old favourites, such as
like an Egyptian. The blonde waitresses take their trays and spin around and they cross the floor. They've got the moves.
When I saw the list of records and programs that had been edited and cut, my first response was, I'm living in some kind of mad world where the truth can't be faced. Here are people who have become so sensitive to war and to death that their only response is to not pretend it isn't there.
Several major advertising campaigns have been dropped or curtailed as inappropriate during the Gulf War. However, the tubes are still running. Despite this media ultra-sensitivity, there are still print satirists using humour to get across some obvious but sometimes forgotten messages.
I think a lot of people may agree that if that was shown to, for instance, troops out in the Gulf, I think it would make them laugh. And if it would make them laugh, I think that was probably, that should be good enough for anybody.
Ooh, if Zip magazine makes them laugh, it'll be a first. And was interested there to hear about the Mary Whitehouse experience, talking about being a satirical show. Shame they're not funny, innit? Now, you've had a bit of censorship, haven't you, Vic?
Yes, we got censored last week.
What was that for?
Pre-recording our show, we got censored because we mentioned pre-war parachutes.
That was a Reeves and Mortimer product, by the way.
It was a product, but we got censored, but they, I think...
Quite heavily censored, I
People are getting over-sensitive, I reckon.
It's quite unusual, isn't it?
Have they actually gone that over the top in the States, Chris, about the Gulf War?
I only got here like about 2 days after the war started, and when I was in Hawaii just as the war started, and I was out shooting next to a volcano, so I didn't hear any war news from there.
You wouldn't do it next to a volcano,
no,
would you?
Not quite.
You're shooting with a camera?
Yeah, we were shooting
what were you doing next to a volcano then?
Shooting film.
There's
not a joke in there, I'll bet. No, but maybe
no, if anyone's next to a
there
volcano,
is, you'll find
I'm not gonna...
Just give them a slap, Chris, if they get out of hand, you know.
All you'd hear is lambs and things like that, really, isn't it?
But by a volcano.
Yeah.
What cracks me up is that they'll censor that stuff, and yet they'll let you have that banana, right? Like that, all the show.
And they'll let it
That's not
like
causing
that
offence.
What banana? We'll be back after the break with a few of the little goodies for you, see you then.
What banana?